Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the second National Food Waste Summit and Trade Show. It's fantastic to see you all here. Now, gathered here, we have representatives from across the food industry, government and research institutions, all here to progress this very important conversation. And more importantly, use that conversation as an impetus for more action to make the change necessary to tackle the food waste challenge here in Australia. This very important work is being coordinated by Fight Food Waste Cooperative Research Centre and Stop Food Waste Australia, which together form the organisation known as Fight Food Waste Limited. And it's this organisation which is hosting the summit and bringing you all together, those that can and are making a difference. My name is Pip Courtney. I'm the host of the ABC's Landline program, and it is my pleasure to be your MC over the next 2 days. Formally, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome the Honourable Tanya Plibersek MP, Minister for the Environment and Water, who unfortunately can't be here due to Federal Parliament sitting this week. The Honourable Megan Scanlon MP, Queensland's Minister for the Environment and the Great Barrier Reef, who will join us tomorrow. Sponsors, the Queensland Department of Environment and Science as a silver partner and Escavox as a bronze partner. The exhibitors, whose booths you would have seen as you walked in this morning, please take the time to visit them and learn about their contributions to fighting food waste. The speakers and panellists who you'll hear from across 2 days for their contributions to these discussions. The Fight Food Waste Limited board, staff and postgraduate students as hosts for this event. To you all in the room and to those joining online, welcome. It wouldn't be an event these days if we didn't have a streaming audience, so welcome to you. I would like to pay my respects to the Jagera and Turrbal people whose land we meet on today, and to all First Nations and Torres Strait Islander peoples from whichever lands, waters and skies you are joining us from around Australia. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. You have the right people in the room, and certainly many joining you online also, to have this very important conversation. If Australia is to halve its food waste by 2030, the conversation has never been more urgent to have at this level, with those that take a leadership position to not only inspire change, but to take action. Over these 2 days, you'll hear from experts in food waste, climate, sustainability and innovation. Together, you'll explore the current and future landscapes of food and food waste in Australia and the latest topics, trends and solutions to Australia's $36.6 billion food waste challenge. Whether you're fighting food waste and want to increase your impact or you're ready to get started, the National Food Waste Summit has all the right people in the one place to connect with. There'll be ideas and solutions ready to support you. Take the actions required to have real economic, environmental and social impact. Now for our welcome to country, please join me in welcoming Aaron Rusker.
Yidda. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aaron Rusker and I'm a traditional owner of the country we're gathered upon here today. Now, Yuggera country stretches from the mouth of the Brisbane River out to the Great Dividing Ranges near Warwick and Toowoomba, back down south to the Logan River and as far north as the Caboolture River. Now, within the Yuggera country, there are several subclans. You have the Yuggera, the Jagera, the Turrbal, and also the Yuggerapul people, just to name a few. Now, Aboriginal people have been doing welcome to country since the beginning of time. There are many forms of welcome to country. So you have the passing over of the message stick, which is a piece of wood about this big, and it'll have markings or carvings on it to depict the reason why someone were wanting to travel through your country. You have the smoking ceremony, so when people are gathered in your country, you'd actually proceed with a smoking ceremony just to bless the people and get rid of any bad spirits or negative energy. You also have a welcome to country that is done by a traditional owner or an elder by calling up your ancestors, all our ancestors here today, and I'd like to do that by saying Yira Yira Ngambli, Yananganari Bajara, Nanya Mingadu, Nanya Birli, Nanya Baya Mijara, which means simply you are all welcome to gather here today, and hope God and all of our ancestors guide us in peace. Nanya, thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. I'd now like you to direct your attention to the screen behind me as we view a message from the Australian Government's Minister for the Environment and Water, the Honourable Tanya Plibersek MP.
Hi everyone, it's Tanya Plibersek here, Australia's Minister for the Environment and Water. Thanks so much for asking me to speak with you at the second National Food Waste Summit, and I'm so sorry I can't be with you in person. I want to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land that you're meeting on today and pay my respects to elders past and present. And of course, to everyone at the conference, I want you to know that your work is of the highest importance. Our country throws away 7.6 million tonnes of food each year. It's pretty hard to wrap your head around this mountain of food being thrown out every day. It's an enormous waste for our people, for our environment and for our economy too. So we need to reduce the amount of waste that's going into landfill, and even more importantly, I know we need to reduce the amount of waste being generated in the first place. Our government is guided by the National Food Waste Strategy, which is seeking to halve Australia's food waste by 2030. It's a very ambitious goal. It's a big job, but I'm optimistic about what we can achieve working together. I want to work closely with the states and territories, with industry, with NGOs and research groups to implement our ongoing strategy and to meet our targets. There are organisations with you today who are leading from the front. Organisations like Stop Food Waste Australia and the Fight Food Waste Cooperative Research Centre. Groups bringing people together from across the supply chain with a shared goal of reducing our food waste. I want to thank everyone involved in initiatives like this and encourage other organisations, businesses and individuals to find out how they can contribute. People at this summit are doing vital work. You're finding innovative ways to reduce losses along the food supply chain, to transform food waste into valuable new products, and to engage industry professionals and consumers to reduce the amount of food they're wasting. By doing this, you're also working to fight the terrible blight of food insecurity. When we're fighting against food waste, we're also fighting to get nutritious food into the hands of hungry Australians. And as advocates for social justice, there's no more important mission than that. Stopping food waste is good for the environment, it's good for the people who need a helping hand, and as I've said, it's also good for our economy. Embracing the circular economy has the potential to unlock enormous opportunities for Australia. With food waste, you have the essential ingredient for compost and the ability to make our soil more fertile and productive. I know you're also creating new products from surplus food, like protein powder from potatoes that aren't suitable for sale and animal feed from food waste. Complementary to the work that you're doing to stop food waste, the government's also investing $67 million in organic waste facilities in every state and territory. The Food Waste for Healthy Soils Fund aims to increase Australia's organic waste recycling rate from 49% to 80% by 2030. Recycling 80% of our organic waste would add approximately $400 million to the value of the Australian economy, while supporting up to 2,700 additional jobs in the recycling industry. It'll also avoid over 2 million tonnes of unnecessary greenhouse gas emissions each year, the equivalent of taking 500,000 cars off the road. This huge potential is one of the reasons Environment Ministers agreed last month to work with the private sector to design out waste and pollution, to keep materials in use and to foster a circular economy by 2030. Our government backed this in the budget with a suite of circular economy measures. Most notably, we provided $15 billion for the National Reconstruction Fund. The National Reconstruction Fund will support sectors that add value to our primary products and will supercharge our circular economy. That includes primary production, which generates almost a quarter of Australia's food waste. Working to reduce food waste is a shared task. We can only make progress by working in the same direction. That's why events like this summit are so important. So thanks again for having me today. Thank you for everything you've achieved so far, and I'm looking forward to the progress we can make together. Thanks.
Today it's 5 years, almost to the day, from the first National Food Waste Summit, convened by the Australian Government, and the launch of the National Food Waste Strategy. It was here Australia made a commitment to halve food waste by 2030. A lot has happened since then, and there's still so much to do, which is why it's great you're holding this second summit, to get all the key players together in the same space to keep building the momentum that Australia needs. To set the scene, I'd like to welcome to the stage Fight Food Waste Limited Chair, John Webster. John is the inaugural independent chair of the Fight Food Waste Cooperative Research Centre and was integral to the success of the bid. He has extensive experience in issues surrounding both food waste and the management of complex industry research collaborations. His expertise includes strategy, governance, leadership, performance measurement, R&D project management, business and commercialisation in the food, agribusiness and food waste sectors. Please welcome John Webster.
Welcome, everybody. I always wonder who they're talking about when you get introduced. It's not too sure it's me, but never mind. I've got 2 pieces of paper here. Hopefully I won't just keep getting halfway through and starting again. I'll see how I go. But look, welcome to the 2022 National Food Waste Summit. Welcome on behalf of the Fight Food Waste Limited Board, but also on behalf of all of you who have been addressing this issue in some cases for many, many years. And as you've heard, I guess, the fact is if you're here today, you already know there's 7.6 million tonnes of food loss and waste in Australia every single year. $36 billion annually. You're also no doubt aware, and Pip just mentioned again, it's almost exactly 5 years ago that the first National Food Waste Summit was held. It was actually 20 November 2017, where the Commonwealth Government committed to halving food waste by 2030. So over the next 2 days, you'll hear what's been attained over those 5 years between summits. You'll hear how much has been achieved when you view food loss and waste not so much as a problem, but as an opportunity and as a resource rather than as a cost. And at all times, when we're acknowledging what's happened over the last 5 years, we should recognise the fact that recent achievements are always built on the foundations laid by those who worked in this area long before it was acknowledged as a national priority. But you're also going to hear that we're not there. You're going to hear what needs to be accomplished over the next 5+ years if we're going to achieve the goal of halving food waste by 2030. You'll also hear that international experience demonstrates that you really do need 4 pillars to operate in parallel to successfully reduce food waste. And the sessions will cover information on those pillars. Now, the first pillar is research. Research to discover and then commercialise solutions to any inhibitors to individual enterprises addressing food waste reduction. Second pillar is commitments by the commercial companies and industry sectors to reduce food waste. Third pillar, a national consumer behaviour change campaign to address the 1/3 of all total food waste that occurs actually in households. And finally, policy change to ensure that the regulatory environment does not inadvertently stifle the changes that are necessary. And we'd hope that the sessions will be relevant if your focus is on improving the food chain productivity to farm to fork, or if you're involved in food rescue to reduce the impact of hunger in Australia, or whether your concern is about the environmental impact of food waste, or the opportunities to add value to this huge wasted resource, or indeed, if you're from the federal, state or local governments where your policies and regulations can have such a huge impact on our chances of success. You'll hear what's happening overseas and you'll hear what's happening in Australia, whether it's research underway or whether it's commercial application of best practice. And by the close of tomorrow, I would hope that everyone feels reinvigorated to applying the effort that's going to be required to hit our goal of reducing by 50% food waste in Australia. I'd hope also you've had the opportunity to meet someone who might be able to help you in whatever your particular aspect may be, and that you've actually collected some tools to take away and solutions to apply. Now, the Fight Food Waste Limited team, that's the incorporating the Fight Food Waste CRC and Stop Food Waste Australia, is delighted that you've taken time out of your busy schedules to attend this summit. And I'd also like to thank in advance all of our speakers and panel participants who have already put so much time and effort into preparing for these proceedings. So please enjoy the summit, and I and the Fight Food Waste Limited directors and team look forward to catching up with you all over the breaks. Thank you.
Thank you, John. A little bit of housekeeping to get out of the way before we launch in. This is a two-day program with the keynote and panel sessions occurring in the main plenary room you're in now, called the Boulevard Auditorium. Showcase sessions are occurring concurrently to these sessions just outside the doors in front of the lifts if you came in that way. If you'd like to go out to participate in one of the shorter sessions, please do, just exit and rejoin as you need. It's not school. All of the details are in your attendee app, so make sure you've downloaded that. At the end of most sessions, there'll be time for questions from the audience, but we've gone high-tech. The only way to submit questions will be through the app. So whether you're here in the room or watching online, you'll need to use that to ask a question. There won't be roaming mics in the room. What a breakthrough. We encourage you to use social media so others who aren't here and are following online can gain an appreciation of what's happening. The hashtag to use on LinkedIn, Instagram, and yes, Twitter, it's still alive, I checked it this morning, is hashtag Food Waste Summit. Now, on Landline shoots, when we're doing an interview, we have a rule. If the phone goes off, you owe the crew a slab of beer. Now, there's only 3 in a crew, so usually when my phone goes off, I just give them a 6-pack. So I just ask you to consider just having your phones on silent, because I'm very harsh on the beer fine. And it's a non-smoking venue, and if an emergency is called, you'll hear the typical beeps, and we ask that you follow the Brisbane Convention and Exhibition Centre staff and exit, but don't use the lifts. Bathrooms are outside this room. If you turn left after walking through those doors, walk past the lifts and turn left again. We'll have traditional breaks during the day, and I hope you notice that the organising team and the Brisbane Convention and Exhibition Centre staff have gone to great lengths in pre-planning to do whatever they can do to reduce food waste during the event. And nice to note that the Brisbane Convention and Exhibition Centre's food rescue partner is OzHarvest. So if you're looking for something, please ask. The dietaries are served separately from the back of the exhibition area, or if something runs out, just talk to staff from the venue and they'll do their best to help. From menu selection to the food placement and operational delivery, you'll be well fed and hydrated, but by putting in some simple procedures and practices, we're reducing food waste, and we know that you all know every little step counts. So thank you again to sponsors, QDES as silver partner and Esker Vox as bronze partner. You'll hear more from QDES tomorrow, and Esker Vox has a booth outside, which I encourage you to visit. We have a number of other companies who've also joined with a fantastic exhibition set up in the foyer, so please go and have a chat to them during your breaks. In addition, there are a number of team members from the Fight Food Waste CRC and Stop Food Waste who are here. They're here to help facilitate your journey being part of this country's response to the goal of halving food waste. So I encourage you to seek them out, by visiting the Fight Food Waste Limited booth outside. Finally, at the back of that booth is a particularly photogenic media wall, which will make a great backdrop for your selfies and other pics.